Is being successful in business down to luck? Is it a sweet science? Is it about being in the right business at the right time? Or hard work and dedication? Well, if you're like me, a business owner that's always looking at improving and learning from the best, this podcast will be sharing real stories from real business journeys. Welcome to RealTalk, your podcast dedicated to interviewing successful entrepreneurs. So, Joe, Dan, welcome to RealTalk.
Thank you.
This has been a long time in the making.
Yes.
Hasn't it? We had this booked in about a year ago.
Maybe
and
a bit more.
Then you cancelled me 4 times, and then eventually we're here.
Was it us that doesn't ring a bell?
I think maybe it might have been. What do you think to the new night mic? Is that a mic? Is it a boom? What's it called? The thing that goes on the...
What do you think it's called?
I don't know. You said mic boom.
We'll call it a mic boom.
What is it?
Let's go with that. Let's go
Cover.
with that.
Just a
Let's
mic
call it
cover.
a mic boom
What do
cover.
you think to the new mic cover?
It's all right, yeah.
It's a bit Americanized.
It's
a bit
a
intense.
famous mic cover there. Am I looking here? Big thanks to Jay from Optifire for my mic cover. I did tell him it was for my daughter, and it's clearly not got there just yet. So,
Right.
do you like it, or is it not?
It's
for you?
okay. I don't know why you'd want to give it your daughter. I've got a
She
few
wanted it.
questions.
She's a big fan of Tommy Fury.
Is she?
Okay.
Big fan of Tommy Fury.
Makes sense.
So that's
But what, you could have had a branded one.
yeah.
That'd probably been a bit better.
Yeah, Action Coach.
Not a bad idea. That
Yeah.
Real Talk one.
They're quite expensive though, you know.
Are they really?
Yeah. We shot some stuff with a microphone before, and to get that, to get something printed on a microphone, it's
I'm
pretty
having it.
pricey.
It's done. If anybody knows somebody that can do me a branded mic cover, is that what we're calling it?
Let's
Mic
call it
boom
that.
cover.
It's not a mic boom cover. It's a microphone cover, please. I would like one with the Real Talk branding on there. Maybe you get a guest spot for providing them free of charge. You know, I am a Yorkshireman after all. But anyway, welcome to Real Talk.
Thank
This is
you.
going to be different for you
Yeah.
because you're normally behind the camera.
Yeah.
Not in front of the camera. So I can clearly see you're out of your depth already.
We feel out of our depth.
This is gonna be
a little uncomfortable.
This is going to be a good one today because obviously Real Talk is about meeting people that run their own company, and it's about a journey from where it started, where you're at now, what lessons did you take throughout that journey to get you to where you are, so we can hopefully help aspiring entrepreneurs and business owners sort of negate the mistakes that you have inevitably made. Now this is different because I met you in lockdown. Mm-hmm. Will we stop referring to that period as an actual period in time at one point? Maybe. So we met in maybe April 2020, I would say.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you were sort of fledgling. You were starting this business out. You'd had an idea. You'd been going for what, 12 months or something up until that point?
Coming up to 2 years at that
Coming
point.
up to 2 years, and it had been sort of a hobby business up
Yeah.
until that point in time, hadn't it? So we always start off with tell us who you are and what you do. So let's go there. Joe, we're going to start with you and your highlights.
Okay, so yeah. So I'm Joe Palmer and obviously run Open House Pictures, video production company, Sheffield. Been going nearly 5 years now. So the aim of what we do is to develop videos for businesses that maximise return, or it could be brand awareness, or it could be solving a problem.
So let's just have a disclaimer at this point in time which says they have not been paid for the production of this video.
No.
Not yet.
No.
Yeah. Dan, tell us a bit about you.
I'm Dan.
Hello, Dan.
So we're kind of splitting our roles. So I'm more sort of the technical guy. Did years and years before me and him set up the business, running sort of video editing, all that kind of stuff, video production side. So that's kind of my background. You're more sort of client relations and running the business as a whole. We kind of come together without holding hands and work on the business.
Sometimes.
Occasionally, maybe a bit
Guys,
more
we're
when we
not
met you.
Sat here holding on.
Now, it's an interesting journey for you because the first part that I always talk to people about is what I would classify as the entrepreneurial seizure, which is the day that you woke up and went, we're going to do this for ourselves. Now, most people will go through a journey of maybe 5, 10, 15 years working for somebody, realise they're an idiot, go, I can do this for myself, and then start working for a moron. Work that one out.
Oh, yeah.
Morons.
But did you have much employment history in video production? Did you work for other people, or
No.
so? Why start your own business? What happened?
So we met at college. So we've known each other for about 10 years now. And then we both studied acting. So that's where we started off on an acting course because we want to be actors. In our second year of uni, we decided to crowdfund a short film and film it over 5 days. thought, why not? I think we did it over the summer, didn't we?
Yeah. We had clearly too much free time.
Yeah, no friends, no nothing. So we did that, and it was the most stressful experience, but the most fun we've ever had.
Yeah. So we did it from scratch. So like Joe said, coming from an acting background, it's a very different world, acting, performing on stage compared to running a, video production company and all that.
We'll not edit out. We're going to keep that in. It's all right.
Yeah, good.
It's just conversation.
Running a video production company and all that kind of thing. It's a very different story. But we went through the whole process, like Joe says. We crowdfunded it. We raised a couple of grand for it, which was really impressive for people who've never done anything like that. And we tried to organise it and do the pre-production. And there was so much that we didn't know and so much that we cocked up on.
Yeah.
That on the filming week where we filmed it, it was a nightmare. Yeah. And it was all over the place. And it was totally our fault, wasn't it, really?
Oh, yeah.
We didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know what we were doing, and we were just absolutely shocked.
One bit of advice we got with the first filmmaker we ever met in Sheffield, I said, what advice would you give us for a first short film? And he said, don't film it in a moving car at night.
So you decided to...
No, that was our script.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that, and before, I'm not changing it, so we did it. And it took us... when did we film? It took us 4 years to release it.
Wow.
Because of that many mistakes, we had to employ loads of people to fix it. But we thought, one thing we didn't want to do is not release it, because we got into the habit of not releasing stuff. That's not a good attitude to have. So we thought, release it regardless of what stage it's at. Show people so people can actually see the rubbish we've created.
Yeah.
Because it was rubbish. And
did you think it was rubbish at the time, or did you think it was all right?
we thought it was groundbreaking at the time.
Did you really?
Yeah.
The concept,
Yeah.
we thought it was, we're going to skip past all the student filmmaker mistakes. I'm going to make something that's like a masterpiece.
Yeah. And then you look back at it now with a little bit more maturity 5 years later and go, yeah, that was...
It's embarrassing.
Yeah. But that was the seed, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The seed was planted there.
Yeah.
We did that and we thought, this is great. We love doing that. What can we do to keep doing that day to day? Obviously, I had a year of university to finish, so we had to get all the way through that. And then at the end of uni, we were like, let's just do it. Let's go in, let's make a
So
production
was
company.
this business your first job?
We've had jobs before that.
Odds and sods, but in regards to the field of expertise that you're in,
This is the first.
you went straight from education straight into running your own business.
Yeah, so when we set up, we had to teach ourselves.
See, I see this more and more often. If I go back 25 years, that was really rare. You didn't see people going from education into entrepreneurship or business ownership. You saw people going to university to learn a trade, to go and apply that trade for somebody, and then they'll go through a period of maybe 5, 10, 15 years. But maybe it's are you millennials? Is that right?
Are we Gen Z?
I don't know.
We're like on the threshold between...
Threshold
96,
between
whatever
those
that is.
two.
Yeah.
Probably millennials then, right?
Yeah.
I'm seeing that much more with sort of the youth of today, where it's like the whole YOLO mentality. May as well just get it and get it done. So you started this business, not just, you weren't really were you a film production company to start off with, or were you looking at just producing short films? Because I know you do a lot of commercial stuff now, don't you? So working with businesses from in and around the city.
Yeah, so the idea was to start doing short films, but we soon realised there's no money in it. Unless you make it big time, there's no money in it. So we had to pivot into the corporate world.
Pivot. Every time that somebody says the word pivot, I can just see Ross Geller with that settee trying to get up those
That
stairs.
just scared me when you did
I
that.
hate that word. That word was so overused in 2000.
lockdown.
All right, what other
Pivot.
words?
Change, adapt.
So we adapted,
There you go. It's better, isn't it?
we pivoted,
Adapt.
/ adapted,
Molded.
molded. We moulded ourselves.
Merged.
Oh, okay.
Let's move on now. We're not doing the
Merge ourselves.
Thesaurus edition.
Yeah, into doing more corporate stuff. Now, the first couple of things we did were a disaster. We did one wedding. I've never done a wedding again.
Because there's so many things that you can do with a camera. You know, you can do the wedding photography and stuff. You can do the commercial stuff. You can do the film stuff. Where's your passion lie?
I think working with businesses. I think what we really, really enjoy about working with different businesses is learning about them, learning what they do, how they work, what their service is. And although, you do work with some businesses that maybe have quite a, obvious service. It's very, it's very easy to kind of explain and that kind of thing. But the businesses that are complicated and have something about them where we really have to sit down and think, how do we tell this story? How do we tell this service?
Because most companies
Creative.
on the from an advertising, marketing, video perspective, lots of businesses are quite boring. You know, they go from A to B.
Yeah.
You know, we do scientific testing as an example. It's like, right, okay, that must be really difficult for you to kind of sit down and go, how do we carve that message across to either engage an audience or to engage people?
It's difficult because sometimes it's not an exciting topic.
Yeah.
Sometimes not exciting people that work there.
Yeah, that must be really difficult.
And then you turn up and it's just white walls everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's like, bloody hell, what
Got to
do we
do something with that.
Yeah, we've got to make it exciting, but that's what we like. You know, we like to learn about them, and then we've got to make it exciting. We've got to make it sexy. That's our job, basically. We've got to make everything look sexy. If we don't do it, we're not doing our job properly.
So you started off creating a short film. That was a disaster.
Yeah.
What was stage 2?
Stage 2 was basically figuring out what the hell we're doing. You know, we set it up. We thought, you know, let's just go for it. Taught ourselves film, taught ourselves business. First couple of projects were just terrible. Like I said, one wedding, never again. So we soon got rid of weddings as a thing altogether. Yeah. We didn't get our first paid job until probably 7 months after we set up. So up until lockdown, the first year and a half was just a hobby.
Yeah.
We didn't have a process. We didn't have anything.
I don't know if the intention was for it to be a hobby. I feel like we did go in both feet.
Yeah.
But we didn't know
so most
how we were running
people, so when I look at a hobby business, I look at something sort of back bedroom, giving it a go. But that wasn't you, was it?
No.
You were fully both feet in.
Yeah.
But I think it was our naivety. There was so much we didn't know. And we didn't know, you know, like we say, we did acting, we didn't do video production. So there's a huge, steep learning curve on how to use cameras, how to use microphones, the basics of how to do our service, on top of running a business, trying to get work in, market ourselves, sell
Employing
ourselves.
people.
Yeah, it was a really tough learning curve to get to that point where we felt like, and to be fair, we're still learning all the time, aren't we?
We got to, aren't you?
Yeah, we're constantly progressing in what we do. But that first year, and convincing a client that we'd never done any video content for before,
Don't worry,
to
it'll
go
be
with
alright.
us, and we know what we're doing, was not easy. And so we had to produce some content that we could show them, and then get to that point where they'd go on then, let's give you a go.
So we've known each other for nearly 3 years now, right? So we no secret about it. We've worked together for 3 years. I do take the mickey out of you a lot, but beneath the surface, I care deeply for the both of you.
And we've got that recorded.
Yeah.
We have
Can we
got
have
that
that
recorded. We
Yeah.
do have that recorded. And it's been quite an enlightening journey for me as well as you two, kind of seeing you know, for those that don't know anything about Open House, you've doubled sales, maybe even quadrupled sales year on year.
Yeah.
You're hiring people, you're doing bigger and better production that you've ever done, and you're growing as business owners at the same time. What would you say are some of your biggest lessons that you've had over the last 3 years? Everybody does that.
Yeah.
It's that sharp intake of breath when they ask that question.
Yeah. I wonder why that is.
What was the first? So we met in lockdown.
Yeah.
I remember the conversation. I do remember the conversation that we had. It was on Zoom. I was in a formed office in a back bedroom of my house. It was my wife's beauty room.
Yeah.
Up until lockdown.
I look like Jedward.
You look like Jedward.
Yeah.
I think I had quite a big beard and quite big hair at that point in time because I decided to stuff it. I'm not shaving.
Yeah.
We're going to commit to this. Do you remember the first conversation that we had?
I think so,
Loosely.
yeah. About diaries and...
Yeah, so it was really clear that you had a lot of energy. You really wanted to make this thing work, but it almost felt like you were just heading in so many different directions and making...
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that a lot of people fall foul of. You know, we assume that working hard's going to be success, and it's not.
I remember now, you said, what are you trying to be? Because we did, during lockdown, we did all those film club quizzes and quizzes on our Instagram, and you were like,
What is it that you're actually trying to do here? Because it was just so scag, and we'll do a bit of this, and then it was like, okay, what day is it? Wednesday, right? We'll do a bit of this, and then four days later, we'll do this.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I remember the conversation with you really vividly because you were both so super focused, and you had so much energy, especially for sort of two lads that had just started a business, that you'd now been told that you can't do your business anymore, to go home, stay home. You also seemed a little bit in control. Was that all bravado, or was that... Did you know that this was going to be successful? Or
No.
did you...
No.
For us, lockdown was a blessing for us. Don't get me wrong, we didn't get any grants, we didn't get anything, we lost all the jobs overnight, we were screwed. But what we didn't want to do is take a long summer holiday. We worked every single day still, regardless. And we both said, you know, we've been running this as a hobby for a year and a half. We've got to be serious at this now. We spent a bit of time with yourself, who told us, you know, the first thing you taught was about, you know, planning and calendars and stuff like that, daily plans and stuff. And we said, we've got to do this proper.
You finally done them yet? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah, eventually.
Eventually, yeah.
2 years later or something.
6 months.
2 years, maybe.
And we both sat down and said, well, what the hell are we doing here? Because running like a hobby, we're going nowhere. We use this chance as a fresh start. So we developed a new website, we changed everything, and we came out of lockdown completely different. And since then, we've just grown and grown and grown and adapted. And I think without lockdown, I don't think we'd be in the position now, because it really got us thinking properly.
Yeah, and I think like you say, the energy was there, the want for it to be successful and for us to grow and build was there, but we were just throwing everything at the wall, seeing what stuck and just seeing what happened.
It was just two mates having a laugh.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
And we were serious about doing
So what
this.
was the moment then where you went from two mates having a laugh to go, this is serious now?
I don't know.
I think
I don't know.
it was a slow change in lockdown, if I was to pin
Yeah.
it on anything. I think that progression of going from, we'll do this for fun, let's see where this goes, to let's actually make this a thing. Let's train ourselves on marketing, sales. Let's have these systems and plans in place. It kind of shot a rocket up our arse, didn't it, a little bit?
Well, not just that. I saw a lot of other businesses, not everyone, but I saw a lot almost treat it like a long holiday. And and we thought, if we put the work in now, we could come out of it, you know, in a bit better position than our competitors. So that's what we did. And, you know, we didn't have a day off at all. We worked every day. You'd have a go at us for saying this, but we worked sort of 9 to 11 o'clock at night every day. Because we got stuff to do, we had to get head in gear.
It was lockdown.
Yeah, look, sometimes that's needed. I'm not a big believer that you should create habits like that. But
Yeah.
we've all pulled a long day or an all-nighter when needed. Creating those habits isn't necessarily something that you want to do for long-term success, because you'll just burn out. Was there a time in the early days, in the first sort of 18 months, 2 years, where you considered just chopping it in and getting rid?
Plenty of times, yeah.
Did you discuss it?
We never did. I don't think we ever got to a point of discussing.
No.
Well, you both had those doubts.
Both, yeah. We
Yeah.
both said, are we capable? Are we good enough? You know.
A lot of imposter syndrome. I think because we'd not been taught it at university, there was that kind of feeling of like, are we capable of doing this? Are we capable of like offering that quality to our clients that we're, because we could say it.
Yeah.
We'd say, oh, this is going to be amazing. It's going to be the top quality. It's going to really do the numbers. But can we deliver that?
Yeah.
So there was a lot of like, I don't know, insecurities around that.
I was really bad. I was
Uncertainty.
comparing myself with everyone. If someone somewhere, even if they're not in Sheffield, if a London production company released a video and it looked good, I'd say to myself, I'd never be able to do that. Jack it in, do something else. You can't. You'll never get to that stage. He used to have a go at me all the time for saying it, because I used to be really bad at comparing myself to other people, and that got on his nerves because he thought, well, I don't want to be in a business with someone that's going to be like that every day.
Yeah.
So we really had to get a grip, pretty much. I had to get a grip and go, you know what, we can do it. Just put the work in. That's all it is. Just put the work in. Anyone can achieve anything if they put the work in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what we had to do.
Yeah, I'm a big believer that to most degrees, anybody can achieve anything provided that they're committed to doing it.
It's that persistence, isn't it?
It is. Persistence is key.
I think when there's those weeks where, and we've had those months, haven't we, where work's not been coming in, and it's in the early days when we've not got our name out there well enough that people aren't coming to us. We're thinking, is this viable? Well, what stage are we actually going to make this? Or what stage are we going to succeed? And I think you get through that by being persistent and just turning up every day and churning and getting through the same process every single day.
Yeah.
Till you can get to that stage where we are known and people do know us for our work. And then I think that builds confidence as well, right? Because if you're succeeding in what you're doing and clients are coming back and going, this is great, this content's fantastic, then the imposter syndrome thoughts in your head, they start to fade away a little bit.
Yeah, so you've gone from two mates at college, gone to university, studied acting.
Yeah.
Thought you'd do a short film, did some crowdfunding.
Yeah.
That was a disaster.
Yeah.
Started your own business. That was a bit of a disaster.
Yeah.
Lockdown happened.
Yeah.
Decided, right, we're going to do this differently. We're going to get committed. Got a bit focused. Started planning your activities, what you were doing. Started creating systems. Redeveloped the business.
Yeah.
What was kind of stage 2 then? What was stage 2? What was the sort of post-lockdown July 2020 to today, what was that stage like for you?
The first thing we did is develop a new website to get inbound in, because we weren't even on the first page of Google at the time. So we went from being not the first page of Google, left lockdown ranking first.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of work throughout lockdown on that. Stage 2 was to pay ourselves.
I remember that. I remember that, yeah.
We refused to pay ourselves anything, and you were like, just pay yourselves something. And we were like, but what if we don't get that money? And you said, you know, you'll always find a way. You'll always
I'm a big believer in finding voids. So when you start a business, the hardest thing is to pay yourself. That's the hardest thing, because you want to protect the income, don't you? You want to see the bank balance grow, not shrink. But really, you're kind of kidding yourself. If the bank balance is growing, but you're not paying yourself, it's probably not growing to the rate that it should be. So for anybody starting a business, you should pay yourself something consistently, and you should always pay yourself first. It's a good habit to get into. So whether it's just 100 quid a week, 50 quid a week, 200 quid a week, get in that routine of paying yourself. Because the moment that bank account comes down, you create a vacuum where you've got to go, right, shit, better find some work, because if I want that bank balance to stay at X amount of pounds, I need to find some work to put it in there. So that was a real shift then, right?
Yeah.
Start paying yourself.
That was a shift,
and I think we can honestly say every step of the way that has been the case. When we've hired, when we brought people on, when we've paid for a service, even if it's out of what we could afford, we knew we'd find a way to pay for it.
Yeah.
It's a weird mindset, isn't it? Because you've got to get yourself in a place of going, I'm going to spend this money and I'm going to find...
I think that's one of the true things of entrepreneurs, though. The true thing of entrepreneurs, Branson, his book, Screw It, Just Do It. It's like, I'll do it, and then I'll find a way of making it happen. Now, whilst that is an entrepreneurial trait, that's probably also a trait for failure as well, because if you don't have the tools behind you to back that up, that could be quite catastrophic.
Yeah.
So whilst I won't necessarily advocate just say yes and work it out, I would also advocate just say yes and work it out to some degree.
Yeah, I mean, we do that and we don't do that.
Yeah.
So even 2 weeks ago, they had the conversation of saying, if work dries out, we'll just lower our wage, and we can invest in that new camera, that new bit of kit. And we keep having to pinch ourselves, going, well, we don't have to do that ever. We've not had to reduce our wage ever. So why are we starting now? So we still go back into those old habits. But even now, you know, a job will come in. He might go, oh, it's a bit too much for us. I don't know if we can do it. And I'll just say, well, just say yeah, and we'll figure it out afterwards.
Yeah.
It's just that initial yes, because there's plenty of people out there that are experienced in that, you know, department. Like, you know, it might be a live streaming job. We don't really do that. So what we'd probably do is get Jay on from Oxyfire.
That's double 2 for you, Jay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's 10% for you. For me, I mean. So that's what you do. You know, you say yeah, and then you figure it afterwards. Because if you keep holding yourself back, how are you going to grow?
Yeah.
Because you've got to be uncomfortable to be comfortable. Another thing that I learned. There you go. That was from him.
Two things.
I do listen.
Sometimes.
I do listen sometimes.
Yeah, the getting in the routine of becoming comfortable in uncomfortable situations will certainly serve you well.
Yeah.
So you got in a good routine of paying yourselves.
Yeah.
I think what you were saying without saying it is you changed your mindset from we couldn't possibly do that to a how could we possibly do that?
Yeah.
And that's although that is just a one word change in a sentence, that puts you in forward momentum versus sort of hiding in a corner, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, well, how could we do that? What would we need to do? What resources would we need? Who would we need to know to help us out? There's a great book called Who Not How as well, which I've read over the last couple of years, and I found that's been really helpful. That once you work out how to do something, the next part is to work out, well, who do I need in order to take that to a new level, to the next level. You've been going through that with hiring your team to do edits and hiring the business development team as well. Sort of working out the bits that you really enjoy and recruiting the bits that are either you're not highly skilled at or you don't necessarily enjoy as well.
Yeah, and I think growth, it's not what you think it is. It's when we got to the point where we were comfortable and things were going well and we had money in the bank and we were like, oh, this is great, we're happy now. That's when growth comes knocking, doesn't it? And you've got to find a way to expand your business. And how do you grow that? And where do you get to that next stage? And I think when we hired the editor, when we hired the BDM that we brought on, every step of that has been terrifying because it's not what we wanted, you know.
I felt sick
because there's that comfortability in there. You sat there with money in the bank. You think we're doing fine. Let's just stay at this level. Yeah, but you know, we really want to be a huge company over the next couple of years. We really want to expand and be you know, one of the biggest in Sheffield. To do that, we can't be comfortable and be you know, happy with where we are. We've got to expand. We brought on the video editor, and that's literally changed.
That's been a game changer for you.
Overnight.
Getting somebody to do editing for you versus you having to do the marketing, win the customer, do the filming, do the edits, do the production, do the edits, get it out to the customer, try and do the customer service, try and do the accounts, try and do the systems. Now it's right, okay, we're good at this, we're going to get somebody to do that, we're going to get somebody to do that, we're going to get somebody to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, with recruitment, we picked someone who we wanted that was better than where we were.
Yeah.
So we wanted to offer a video editing service that was like top in Sheffield, that people were really going to want to be drawn to and invest in.
And to do that, you got to hire top talent.
Yeah, we wanted to hire someone who could do it better than we could.
Yeah.
That was really important. So we could focus, like you say, on the other areas of the business.
And not only did you hire somebody that could do it better than you, they were also quicker as well. Because one of the things that, I don't know whether you remember doing this, was the time audits, where you actually started auditing your time to go. And I remember reviewing those with you, and the amount of time you were spending on editing stuff. And it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
You were second checking and third checking edits that you'd already done. It was like...
And I don't enjoy it either.
Yeah.
So I don't enjoy it.
Well, that's probably the reason why you were checking it all the time, because you didn't necessarily enjoy it. It took too long, and then you were like, oh, did I miss something?
Yeah, I mean, we're perfectionists. We're massive perfectionists, but to our detriment, I think, because if one slight thing was wrong, we'd spend another couple of hours on it, which no one would notice. And
you were trying to find errors and...
Yeah. And not only that, you know, we got to the point where we were outsourcing our editing to freelancers.
Yeah.
And the one thing that was getting to me was what we were paying freelancers for 1 or 2 projects is what we could pay an editor full time for a month and a half.
Yeah.
Because again, we were going to freelancers that were very good to match what we wanted to achieve.
So you took your first member of staff on about a year and a half ago, was it?
May last year.
May last year. So just, under a year.
Yeah.
No. Can't be.
Yeah, I think it was April, May last year.
April, May last year. We're using freelancers up until that point in time.
Yeah.
So the first, you remember the Christmas lockdown extravaganza? We're going to come and film all the kids' pantos, remember?
Yeah.
You did all that editing?
Yeah.
Yes. Wow. Yeah. Not a lot of sleep over Christmas, to be honest with you.
No, we did get some help. Sorry, we got one of our friends who's an editor. She helped in a couple.
Yeah. Was that on the second year we did it?
That was last year. Oh yeah. So the first year that was us. Second year we did it. We had to get. There's just too many.
The difference being, the first year we were working with 5 schools for their shows. The second year was 18.
Wow.
It was a huge step up.
Wow.
So we did not have the
school
capacity.
productions in the space of what, 2 weeks?
It was 2 weeks. Yeah. So film it, edit it, and deliver it as DVDs.
Yeah, because I remember talking to you. The first one, it was both of you on set. Let's call it, all at the same time. Whereas second year was one of you somewhere in the morning, somewhere in the afternoon, you somewhere else.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It was a logistical nightmare.
Great.
I hate a little donkey now.
Yeah.
How many times did you hear that song?
Oh, when I go to sleep now, it just plays in my head.
It's there, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't like donkeys.
Fever dream.
So we've spoke about sort of pre-business, the kind of conception of that business, growth phase. What's for you guys next? What's next for you?
That's a big question.
I breathed in again.
Yeah,
you did.
I've done that 3 times.
Every time I ask a question, everybody breathes in.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's fine.
So,
Well, what's next? You said that you want to be the biggest and the best, but what does that actually mean?
just in terms of sort of growth, we don't like second best for us, but the initial plan going forward is to keep hiring, keep getting clients on board, and just improve ourselves. I think because like Dan says, we're improving all the time, but we don't want to get too big for our boots. We go too much, and then we can't keep up. So we need to make sure we've got systems in place, you know, so we can recruit and keep them in and make sure
Build the system first, and build the business.
Ultimately, we want to get to a point where we're just doing the creative side of stuff and the parts like getting on new business, working with businesses and clients directly, and leaving the filming and the editing to people that are experts what they do.
So the actual technical part of the business will be fully systemised. You're not involved in filming, production, editing.
No, just the conception, the ideas, the creative side
You
of.
go meet the client, work it out. That brief goes to somebody doing the delivery.
Don't get me wrong, we love the filming.
When does that happen?
Soon. It's already happening now.
But when does it happen?
It's happening now.
When does it happen?
It's happening
It's
now.
happening.
Yeah.
It's happening.
When will it have happened? So at what point in time? Are we talking before the end of the year? You're not going to be involved in any of that?
Well, right now, Joe doesn't do the majority of filming projects, and I still lead on a lot. Eventually, we want to get to a point where we've got someone who can do the filming. So that, although we do love filming, we like being on sets, and there's certain skill sets we all have that are just going to warrant us being on a...
Well, there's a difference, isn't it, between doing what you want to do because you can versus doing what you need to do because
The plan is this year.
Yeah.
You know, we've got a BDM on now to do a lot of our stuff. You know, she's really experienced at what she does as well. So, fingers crossed, this year we'll get to the point where we have to hire another videographer/editor.
So at the end of the year, you've got somebody doing editing, you've got your videography team, you've got your business development, and you can focus on the areas that you enjoy the most.
Yeah,
That's it.
pretty much. Because, like I said, we're doing that now. Last year we were both on everything. Realised at the end of last year that a lot of projects are the same and we don't need both of us. So now he is better at the filming and the technical stuff than I am. So he goes and does that. That frees me up to stay in the office, going to meet clients, going to networking, prospecting. I like that stuff. So
Yeah.
Yeah, we're finding more fulfillment in that. We're sort of happier to be there because we're not having to do everything now. We can off-source those things to different, roles or different team members, and we can focus on the stuff we want to do.
Well, not just that, but this year, we normally get overwhelmed with stuff, as you know. We get overwhelmed very quickly, especially me, with stuff. We've actually both said this year that we've never enjoyed our job more than we are doing right now. And
It's only just February, that's probably why.
yeah. Yeah.
But all the year
April.
left.
Yeah.
That's really cool to hear, though.
Yeah, because we both said at the same time, we do monthly reviews. Part of it is to put our personal wins and our personal problems in there so we can figure out them. We both put, in the last one, we're both enjoying our job more than ever now, which it should be when you work for
Tell me briefly what you mean by you do the reviews monthly.
So,
tell the audience.
Yeah, so last Friday of every month, we sit down and we go through a checklist of everything in the last month. So we've got wins, we've got problems that have arisen. We could talk about the solutions of the problems, why the wins happened. We then reflect on our goals, our quarter goals, marketing, sales. Did we hit the targets we want to hit? And then we just basically set more goals for the next month. So we look at the quarter goals, break them down into miniature ones and put them in our monthly.
So you didn't necessarily see this, but I think that's the best thing that you've said today. We often talk about business is made when you're working on it.
Yeah.
It's not when you're working in it. And that's a real commitment and choice to create and carve out that time. And that is all working on the business.
Yeah.
Bit of reflection, bit of rear view mirror, bit of focus for the upcoming month. Honesty between business partners, which I meet so many business partners that just can't be honest with one another.
Yeah.
But carving that time out to do that reflection, I think, is so valuable.
Yeah.
And I think when you first start out, you think, this is wasting time. I need to be doing things here. But doing that, it has been a game changer for us.
Oh, yeah. Really? And we'll pull personal stuff out as well. The other month he put something about me. And
you deserved it.
I did deserve it. I did. And the fact he's told me that, I've not done it since.
That stuff will really serve you well.
Do you know what I mean? We don't get offended by it. We're best mates outside of work.
Yeah.
Outside of work, we don't talk about work. It's sort of banned, isn't it? But we're best mates outside of work. So just because he's told me something that I might be doing something that's getting on his nerves, I'm not going to cry about it.
The fact that you can create that environment where you can be honest with each other, though, is really important as well.
Oh, for sure. To say we're both 50-50 in this.
Was there a time where you did think stuff but didn't necessarily say it?
Yeah,
Did that
definitely.
really bring it out, that process?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it deals with it straight away.
Yeah.
And it is...
No, I was going to say, there was a time when we first started doing this, and I think he pulled out a point a week on me. I got upset because it was like four
week.
It built
Every
up.
week.
I think that was the thing, it had built up, whereas now, because we have that system in place to at the end of the month to have those conversations,
I love that system.
there's nothing.
We don't
there's
even need to
nothing
wait
there
for the
now.
monthly review.
No.
If you annoy me today, I'll just tell you annoy me.
Yeah.
But I don't
Yeah.
care. Do you know what I mean? You need to
Maybe for a monthly review, I quite like it.
unless we do it
Create
here.
that
It is.
It's that safe space, and I think, you know, we're best mates, like you say,
Yeah.
and we're business partners, and they have to have different dynamics, and we need to be able to go in as business partners and go, this isn't the right way to do this thing, or I don't agree with where you're going with this, and be able to say that. And if we weren't able to have those conversations, then we wouldn't be performing our business properly.
And it's those plans at the best thing, because, you know, we have a year goal, a quarter goal.
Mm-hmm.
We then take the quarter goal and review it every month. So we do a monthly review. The last thing we do on a Friday, obviously today, soon, you know, in a couple of hours, is we'll reflect the week we just had and plan the next week. And then
It's a really good discipline.
and then what we do after that, end of each day, we'll plan the following day.
Yeah.
And put times from 9 till 9:30 emails and blah, 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 blah. So we're constantly knowing what we're doing.
That's a great discipline. As you get bigger, keep it up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because there'll always be an excuse where we don't have time. We'll drop the daily one, we'll drop the weekly one, we'll drop the monthly one. We'll just
We've never
keep
dropped
up.
it.
Good.
That's the very first bit of advice you gave us was that, and that's the one thing we did straight away and continue to do. Never dropped
Yeah,
it.
and I think that obviously the structure of your 90 days as well,
Yeah.
that also implements into us keeping on track with those points and those targets.
Yeah, you can't control the year sometimes. You can definitely control the day. You can certainly control the week, maybe the month. Quarter's about keeping you on track.
Yeah.
All right, so we always end the podcast with the same question.
Right.
If you have watched the podcast, you know what the question is, so I don't have to ask you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if there was one piece of advice that you could give to somebody that's about to start up their business, what piece of advice would you give them?
Can I go first?
Well,
Oh, you've got it already.
What this do is say no. You can't go. I'll just wait for 5 minutes.
Go on then.
No, go on. Go on.
Stand your ground. I think
on.
it took us a long time to get to a point with clients where we said, this is our service.
Wow, good.
This is how we do things. You can either work with us in the way we work, or find a production company that will work to, you know.
Because it's really
whatever.
easy, especially when times are hard, just say yes to everything.
Yeah.
And then you just end up creating so many problems, don't you? So stand your ground, stand
And
for
from the beginning, because clients not only respect that, but they won't take the piss down the line
100%.
and use that against you. If you're adapting to them and, oh, we'll do that, and yes, sure.
yes to the end, it's not very good, it'll still be your fault.
Exactly. And that reflects bad on you because the end product doesn't work out. So
Say,
standing your ground.
Love that. Standing by your morals is really, really important. Joseph?
Yeah. Well, just to add from that, if you get a gut feeling or a red flag, listen. You're always going to be right.
Yeah, your
Every gut
intuition
feeling,
is there
yeah.
for a reason, isn't it?
Because with the amount of times we've had a gut feeling about a red flag and thought I'd be okay, and it's always turned into a problem. So now, any red flags, we don't even bother. We'll be polite with them and go, you know, we don't fit the right fit for you. I'll recommend people if you want, but we're not the right fit.
Because it is about fitting each other. Like, I feel like early on when we were going to client meetings, sales meetings, stuff like that, you go in kind of worried about, oh, I hope they're going to like us, I hope we can. But no, you've got to qualify them as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think once you understand that, the power's kind of a bit more balanced. And you can go in more confidently and sort of sell yourself the way you want to sell yourself.
Like it.
Yeah, for me, it's plans. Plans are key for us. You know, if we don't have a plan, how the hell do you know where you're going? What you're working on? What do you prioritise? So it might seem a bit full on doing quarter, month, week, daily, but we've done it religiously for 3 years now, and it's just probably one of the reasons why we are where we are now is because we know in a couple of hours' time we will know everything we're doing next week already.
Really, really good, that, isn't it? Really good. Great discipline to have. Heaven forbid that anybody watches this and go, these two seem like two really interesting people. We need to do some video. How do they get in touch with you?
You should know. Go on.
Get in touch with Jon Asquith at Action Coach, and I'll tell you how to do it.
It's
If I just leave it there.
you can reach us on our website at openhousepictures.co.uk or give us a ring on 0114 205 1516.
Look directly down there.
Yeah,
And
we get a zoom on that as well.
On that note, thank you very much for being part of RealTalk.
It's a pleasure.
Good to see you again
Oh, we're doing.
today, mate.
Oh, look at this. Look at that.